Very much that, in the opinion of this House, the Legislative Assembly of Ontario should stand firmly against any position or movement that promotes or encourages any form of hatred, hostility, prejudice, racism, and intolerance in any way, recognize the long-standing, vibrant, and mutually beneficial political, economic, and cultural ties between Ontario and Israel, built on a foundation of shared liberal democratic values, endorse the Ottawa Protocol on combating anti-Semitism, and reject the differential treatment of Israel, including the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Thank you.
Mrs. Martow has moved private member's notice motion number 36. Pursuant to Standing Order 98, the member has 12 minutes for a presentation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to start by saying that my name, Gila, is the Hebrew word for joy. And we had a press conference early this morning, and I'm to apologize if some people were there, and I'm repeating myself by saying that joy to me means approaching things with a positive attitude, not a negative attitude. And to me, that's one of the problems that I want to discuss, is the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement. It's negative. If you have an issue with any policies of the Israeli government, if you have any concerns with any advocacy work by the Jewish community here around the world, please discuss it with yourselves, discuss it among your clubs, discuss it with me, discuss it with all the Jewish organizations that are here today. We are so pleased to have discussions. It's what we do best. So I just spoke at a statement about volunteerism, and we were recognizing December 5th is the International Day of Volunteering, and one of the aspects of volunteering is to promote peace in the world. So I invite everybody to get involved in a positive organization and to help bring about that peace that we all so desire, not just in the Middle East, but all across the world, here in our streets and on our university campuses, because, Madam Speaker, too often we are hearing that our university campuses sound more like a battleground of intolerance instead of that joyful place that I would like them to be, and a positive place. It's been more than a few years since I myself was on a university campus as a student. No. Yes, it's true. And I have to say that I came back to my dorm room one day, and somebody had marked a swastika on my door with a marker or a pen or something. And I put sort of a positive spin on it, and I said, well, I guess somebody's upset that I am in an optometry program at a fairly young age. I was only 19 years old, and it has nothing to do with being Jewish or anything like that. It's just strictly that it's a way to get under my skin, and the door was painted, and I just went on. And I forgot about it, kind of. And it's one of those things that pops back into your head every now and then. And I'm a pretty... I'm short, but I'm tough. That's what I'm told. And I'm a pretty strong person. And I have to say that I found it hard when I was alone afterwards. I found it hard, even though I put a smile on my face, to deal with. So not every student on our campuses is going to school fully and emotionally. They might have parents at home who are sick. They might themselves be sick. And then if they have to walk on the campuses and incur hostility and see demonstrations that are demonizing the Jewish community and demonizing Israel, that affects their psychological well-being, and it makes it difficult for them to continue their studies. We would not be here supporting a Ku Klux Klan on our campuses. So why are we allowing BDS movements and other anti-Jewish community, anti-Israel organizations to have demonstrations and use our campuses, which are taxpayer-funded? It's a PR battle, Madam Speaker, and I hate to hear about people who want to hide behind freedom of speech, because the boycott movement is actually not just boycotting Israel, it's boycotting voices. It's telling people you cannot support Israel. It's telling people you cannot do advocacy work on our campuses. We're hearing reports of students who want to run for student councils, nothing to do with Jewish clubs or the Jewish community or anything, and they're told, we know that you're Jewish and you're a Zionist or you support Israel or you've been to Israel, and we don't want you in our club. It is shameful, Madam Speaker. We want to remind, I think all the organizations here like to remind people that Israel is a vibrant country, that the boycott movement is failing, that foreign investment is going up in Israel, it's not going down. All it's doing is silencing some of those investors, which again is a boycott of those investors' voices. People here have cell phones. Unfortunately, many of the people in the gallery were shocked to find out that they weren't allowed to bring their cell phones in. So that's what a boycott feels like, because most of those cell phones have Israeli technology, I'd like to remind everybody here. Medical innovations, other apps and software and things like that, that's why people are investing in Israel, is because they put a smile on their face and they get on with the work and the job of enjoying life and not just surviving, but enjoying and trying to make the world a better place. It's a real mandate in the Jewish culture and the Jewish community to try to make the world a better place. And I myself had 4 children who at various stages of their development would approach me very quietly and say, why do they hate us? And what am I supposed to say to my children when they ask why the Jewish community is so disliked and why Israel is so vilified in the world? And it's not something that just happened since the State of Israel was developed only 69 years ago. This has been ongoing for millennia, that the Jewish community is used as some kind of a scapegoat for problems in a country, maybe to take away attention from bad governance or bad times or whatever, that somehow the Jewish community takes the blame. Yes, we have a federal resolution that passed that was anti-BDS in Canada. Congress in the U.S. passed anti-BDS. 16 states have passed, and there's quite a few more that are looking to pass and may have even passed that I haven't heard of. Again, I want to remind people that BDS is the negative way of doing things. We've all heard of concerts that have been cancelled in Israel, or concerts that went on in Israel, and in fact the artists were encouraged to cancel, but they refused to cancel. And stickers that are being put in stores. Private property, a store, a business owner who has products there that come from Israel, and people are sneaking in and putting stickers on and saying, boycott this product because it comes from Israel. That is not what I call a positive and encouraging way to promote peace or to promote any countries that surround Israel that are hostile to Israel. You want to help those countries, perhaps it's a country even an enemy of Israel. You want to promote their products, go ahead and promote their products, but don't try to encourage some kind of progress in those other countries by vilifying Israel. We all know that peace is not always easy to achieve. We've heard in committee, just yesterday we were talking about grandparents' rights, and we were hearing from grandparents coming in and on the silliest thing, buying their grandchild a candy, and the parents never allowed them to see the grandchild again and never spoke to them again. So within families, there are disagreements. So we can just imagine how difficult it is to broker peace agreements between countries when own families and relatives and siblings. So again, back to the positive, Madam Speaker. Look at what is positive in your relationships and your families and your neighbourhoods and your work colleagues. Look what's positive in Ontario, in our communities, in our campus clubs. Get to know the members of the other campus clubs. Have that open dialogue. Do it in a positive way, not in a negative way. How about if I invite everybody here to visit Israel? Okay. Even if you've been to Israel before, visit it again. If you've never been to Israel, please take the time out of your busy life. It can be a vacation, it can be a work trip, it can be a volunteer experience. There's organizations that are so happy to encourage you and to help you plan the trip, and even you can get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch with the right people. I want to just say that this motion has been difficult because it's a bit of a I hate when people call it controversial, because I don't think it's controversial. I just think it's uncomfortable for people, because whenever they try to say something positive about Israel, they get yelled at and shut down, and they're told all kinds of nasty, misleading facts. The fact is, Madam Speaker, I'm expecting this motion to pass because I've had a lot of dialogue with help from the Centre for Israel and Jewish Affairs, have had a lot of their members and people who work there and people who volunteer there, have had a lot of dialogue with a lot of the members here, and to promote open dialogue, to promote passage of this motion. I want to really thank everybody who's here for supporting not just myself, but supporting all the Jewish organizations and supporting the students on our campuses, because really they've endured the brunt of this movement. This movement is failing, and it's going to continue to fail, and it will fail. My problem is what comes next. We saw Israel Apartheid Week, and when that fell flat on its face because finally people got educated and realized how ridiculous it was, they moved on to the boycott movement. And soon people are going to realize how ridiculous it is, and that it isn't, you can't stand behind it and say freedom of speech, because it's actually a boycott of voices. What's going to be the next movement? To try to vilify Israel, to delegitimize Israel, to stigmatize Israel, to make Jewish students feel uncomfortable identifying as Jews on campus or belonging to Jewish clubs. What is going to be that next movement? I hope it's not going to happen. I hope that everybody who is reading about this in the newspaper, watching this on TV, is going to start to look at the facts and to realize that Israel is being unfairly singled out. If you have any issues with any Israeli policies, that's absolutely fine. Write your letters to the editor, contact Jewish agencies and ask, maybe I don't have the facts straight, this is what I was told, but not to go about it by boycotting, divestment and sanctions. That's not the positive way to address any issues that you have. Madam Speaker, right here in Canada, we have ongoing discussions. We even have a ministry for dialogue with our Native and Aboriginal communities and to address many past injustices that were done. We don't call for boycotts. They don't call for boycott of us. We don't call for boycotts of them. In fact, we're all working together to make Canada and Ontario strong economically, improve our environmental practices here in the province of Ontario and Canada, and to spread peace throughout the world. This is the holiday season. It's called the season of peace. Peace and goodwill to all men. So on that note, I'm just going to say I'm looking forward to all my colleagues who are going to rise today with me and speak against boycotting voices and boycotting Israel.